Hello, hello, hello. This is good stuff right here. I gotta get this thing going though. Alright, so if you guys show up a little early, then you're getting to see it now. Alright. I'm gonna have to start getting these scheduled ahead of time so that I've got all these notes in here. Um, Alright, that should be fine. That should work. We'll see who joins us here. Alright. People should be hopping in here soon, and we can get this World's Strongest Man Day 2 going. We'll see who pops in with us. I'll start closing out some of the stuff on here. How goes it? How goes it? I got too many apps running on my machine right now. Gotta do some cleanup. Is it, am I stable? Is the image quality okay with me moving around? Because I've got a lot of stuff running. We'll see. Sick? I'm not, I don't feel sick. I mean, I always look sick. That's, part of being ugly. Is ugly a sickness? I feel like it might be a sickness. And if so, then you probably got a point. But otherwise, no, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. I am tired. I only got a couple hours of sleep last night. Probably I slept less well than Mitchell Hooper did. I imagine he slept okay. Um, wow, 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 wow. So yeah, we're gonna have to have a talk about a lot of stuff. This should be pretty fun. Oh, by the way, if you could, since you're one of the few people here right now, do a quick F5 and refresh that and make sure the title of the stream now shows the correct title of day 2 live results rather than the day 1 stuff, if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to end the stream and restart it just so that it's titled appropriately, and that would suck. Anyway, guys, we're early. I decided to kick this off early today. Sweet. Appreciate it. Awesome, awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I decided to kick this off a little early today. I don't know why, because we know that the World's Strongest Man isn't going to kick off on time, right? So we got a half hour before they are supposed to start. So that means we're really probably about an hour away from knowing anything, if that. But, I thought this would be a good chance for us to get on here, just chit chat, wait, talk about some of the things, let you guys know some ideas that I do have for the stream coming up. Um, Mainly, again, thanks to you guys. So I appreciate that from yesterday. Oh, this is also a good time for me to say if I'm going to be running a channel, I guess I need to operate it like a channel, right? So this is where I'm supposed to say, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that button and blah, blah, blah. And interestingly enough, if you smash the button, you'll notice that my icon now is Hulk version of me. It says Jace Smash. So you'll definitely want to smash the button because you won't like me when I'm angry. Um, right. And I know I sound very intimidating. And if I was, standing up next to something that was proportional, then I'd be super intimidating because everybody's afraid of the 5'2" munchkin. So, but yeah. Anyway, I got all that branding stuff out of the way. Now I feel like a good YouTube shield, the way I'm supposed to be, right? Now I can really say I'm doing it properly. Um, it's also worth noting, and I'll show this again later, but for the few of you who are here now, just to let you know that this is game on and I'm serious today. I do have my Eddie Hall approved Beast Hydrate system. So as long as you've got Beast Hydrate, you are ready for anything that the world can throw at you. And so this is Beast approved. Eddie would be proud. And if those of you who have not tried it yet, you should, because this stuff is great. I mean, it comes in virtually unlimited flavors. You just put a little bit in out of the tap and then stick in whatever you want. It's great. It's totally customizable. I'm thinking about selling these with Eddie's approval and his endorsement. I figured we can probably sell these things for a good $19.97 a piece, right? Um, so that'd be good. Uh, so I think that would work. Uh, but anyway, that lets you know that I'm taking today serious. I'm ready to be hydrated, and I can I can read spreadsheets with the best of them today. Hydration will not be a problem. I've even got backup. This is not Eddie approved, but I mean, if that jug empties, that's there. And then, based upon one of your recommendations yesterday, I've got an empty cup here so that when I need to take a pee break, I can just lower this thing below the viewing, and then, I don't even have to leave or pause the stream or anything like that. I'm ready to go. I'm locked in for the long haul, guys. So that's good stuff. Uh, all right, so a true Eddie question. What do I think about Eddie retiring from the sport at age 29? Um, I know his missus is happy about it. From what I understand, she never really liked Eddie doing the strongman stuff. Um, I think whatever makes people happy is what they should do. He certainly made money. He's still making money. He's probably making more in endorsement stuff now than he made when he was competing. So that's fine as long as he's finding something to keep his competitive juices going. More power to him. Um, that's kind of what I think. Yeah. Oh, so for those of you who joined me yesterday, when are these results coming out? Well, Lil G, we're early, so they won't start competing for about 20 minutes from now. Um, and then if we're using yesterday as a baseline, which we should not do, because again, World's Strongest Man does whatever the heck they want to do. But if we're using yesterday as a baseline, that would mean that the first results would start trickling in about an hour and 15 minutes after their 8 p.m. Pacific start time. So we'd be looking at about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes from now before we know anything. But that's if yesterday is the guide. Maybe they get in there and they don't car walk, they car run, because that's what you should do, right? And maybe the event goes quickly and we start getting results quicker. The long story is I have no idea. When the results are posted, you'll see them on the screen the same way I do. We'll talk about them as we go through. When the results aren't there, then we're just going to sit here and visit. So, Slavic Soldier. All right. This is good. Okay, so how many of you sitting here now have liked and subscribed versus how many of you need to be smashed by Jace? Do I have to put the smackdown on you guys, or are you subscribing? Don't mess with me on this. I'm not joking, because you guys talked me in to doing this channel full time. So if you're going to tell me I need to do it, then you got to support me with the likes. So just the way it works. All right. So before the results start coming in, let's start doing a recap of day one again. So those of you who were here yesterday with me, hopefully that's most of you. And if you're new or didn't watch day one, welcome to day two. But day one was a pretty wild ride with lots of surprises. Group two was definitely the String Master. It was pleasant to have in the back. Thank you. Group two, I definitely think, was the biggest surprise of the day for multiple reasons, not just one. But what I found really surprising about Group 2, and those of you who didn't see Day 1 yesterday, this is going to maybe be shocking to you. And some of you might be like, who the heck is this? But the biggest things about Group 2 yesterday is that Brian really faltered in the deadlift ladder, which we're going to talk about that more in a second too, because a lot of people were talking about why he may have faltered, and suggesting that maybe he didn't really falter, maybe it was purposeful, and we're going to talk about all that. And I'm not ruling anything out. Anything's possible, but I'm going to say that if those suspicions are true, then it was horrible strategy from a guy who normally has really good strategy, and why it makes no sense. Why I think fans are making excuses for Brian's performance rather than just accepting reality that Father Time catches up with all of us. But we'll talk about that in a second. Right now, I want to put the spotlight on Mr. Mitchell Hooper. This is the big reason that Group 2 was a surprise. Some of you sitting there may be like, who the heck is Mitchell Hooper? Those of you who are not like, who is Mitchell Hooper, have probably learned about him recently. And probably 80% of you, if that is the case, you probably learned about him from Laws and Liz, because they did that 30 competitor rundown, which, again, bravo to them. I'll shout them out again. That 30 athlete breakdown in the 2 weeks leading up to World's Strongest Man was just phenomenal content. I loved that. The fact that they were giving us 2 issues a day, they worked their butts off. Much appreciated. Big shout out to them. So after a few seconds, the video became blurred. Why? I don't know. If you're talking about the video of me, am I blurred right now? I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not blurred, so I don't have a blurred effect on or anything right now. Could be the bit rate, could be something in your network, could have been a glitch. If it's still doing it, I don't know. You could reload, but it's probably a bit rate on your site. That's my guess, but I don't know. No technical explanation in terms of it being purposeful. Now, back to what's more important. My mug, whether I'm blurry or not, is not very important. What is important is Mitchell Hooper came out there yesterday, and I'm blocking him, and that's not cool of me. Let me move this around so I'm not uh, taking away focus from who the focus should be on, which is on Mr. Mitchell Hooper here. Um, so this kid, he comes out there yesterday feeling confident but humble, be telling in his interviews, that he's honored to be in such a stacked group, competing with such these great athletes, and not just this group, but just to be competing with these guys in general. But letting people know, I'm confident. But yeah, this is going to be a challenge. But he came out there motivated and ready to say, I'm not just talk. The things that people are saying about me, it's not just empty air. I'm real, and I believe in myself. And by the end of the World's Strongest Man, you're going to believe in me too. And he came out there yesterday, won both of the events in his heat, his group. And what's interesting about that is all of the leaders did that. Yeah, back to the juice talk. Um, I'll be taking my Eddie Hall supplements today, so we'll talk about juicing when I'm drinking the Eddie approved Beast Hydrate system. Okay. Um, anyway, Mitchell Hooper comes out there and he says, "Hey man, I'm real, and I believe in me. And by the time the World's Strongest Man is over, you're going to believe in me too. And all these guys I'm competing against are going to believe in me." And I thought that the kid could do some things because I'd seen some videos of his and I'd heard some rumblings about other people, but you never really know. And the guy had never really been in any kind of major competition before, so you start to wonder, like, is it people are running their mouths, or is there really something there? And you don't know. And in this day and age, we're always skeptical. I'm more skeptical than most because I'm from Missouri, right? This is the show me state. Prove it, prove it. After yesterday, it's hard to be a Mitch Hooper doubter. Um, the kid showed up and showed out. Honestly, I am blown away. I am blown away. Um, so there's that. And then let's talk about Brian Shaw again, and then we'll talk about some of the other groups. Um, no, I hate the stone off, and I'm not very tall. Most people think that I'm about, 6'9", 6'10", a couple inches taller than Brian, especially when you see us standing together. Like when I'm standing next to Brian, there's a little bit of an illusion. Just because my head comes higher than his, people are like, oh, you must be taller than Brian. But that's because people don't really understand physics or gravity, and they don't understand that you can actually have, you know, lengthier proportions to someone but still be shorter. When we break out the tape measure, that's when the truth is told. But it just looks like I'm taller than Brian. It's not really true. Good questions though. Anyway, so let's talk about Brian again, since we're talking about Brian. So again, once the results came in, he did fine in the first event, the loading race. Second place, pretty respectable time of 45 seconds. He was probably pretty pleased with the results. I have to imagine Brian thought a second place in the loading race was pretty good. He wouldn't have hated first, but if he would have said, Brian, you're going to escape the first event with 5 points, I think he would have felt pretty decent about that. But then the deadlift ladder, he only managed to beat Konstantin Janasha. That in itself is shocking that Konstantin only got 3 reps in 1 point because Konstantin is a darn good deadlifter. But that's the only person that Brian was able to beat was Konstantin. Now, of course, his fans are like, well, obviously Brian did it on purpose, or they were thinking about why this would have happened or why that. I think the fact of the matter is he just simply lost to 4 other better athletes on the deadlift ladder on that day. He just got beat. That's what happened. And here's why. It's no disrespect to Brian. Here's why I think that. For those who are saying, like, Brian did it on purpose, let's look at that real quick. We talked about a lot of this yesterday, so I'll try to make this quicker, but a lot of you may not have been here, and hello to you. So again, one of the things that we mentioned yesterday was we're early on. If you're going to take it easy, you're going to take it easy once you're in the later rounds and you know you can afford to do that. If you were to take it off in the first or second event, it's a really bad idea because if people do blow you away, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. Now you've got to do even better than you would have expected to do before. So you've put more pressure on yourself, not alleviated pressure. That's a bad thing. The second thing is the way that the world's strongest man is operating this, and it's pretty common. And that means during the first race, they were all assigned. Brian got to go last anyway in the loading race because he was seated. So he got to jump back and see what everybody had to do. That's fine. But it remains that way. So based on how you perform, that determines your order in the next thing. So since Brian finished second in the loading race, only to Mitchell Hooper, that meant that Brian got to sit back and watch how everybody else did in the deadlift ladder before he went. So by this time, he already knew how Gabriel Pena did, how Bobby Thompson did, how Mark Felix did, how Konstantin Janasha did. So if you'd already seen them and you'd already seen the reps that they did and the times they did, there's no possible way whatsoever you're going to tell yourself 4 reps in 32 seconds is good because you already know it's not. You already know it's not. So the fact is, it's sad to say, especially if you're a big Brian fan, or if you had him picked to be on your podium, which I did, and he still could do it. I'm not counting Brian out. But I'm saying we need to be realistic about what happened, what the likelihood going forward is, and things of that nature. We can't put our heads in the sand. And if we are realistic, he didn't have a good deadlift ladder. He did not. And those 4 reps in 32 seconds didn't get the job done, and I think that was all Brian was able to muster. So, now there's someone else saying, well, maybe this. So Cameron says, I just assumed he knew he couldn't beat the time for the other guy, so he went for time on 4 reps. Maybe he said, hey, I can't. But at that point, his time was not that great. It's not great already. Again, he already had the privilege of seeing what the others did. The only person to follow him was Mitchell Hooper because he beat everybody else in the first event. So once he did, if he was trying to go as fast as he could and he got to 4:32, then I don't know if he tried the 5th or not, but I hope he did. And at the same time, he should have, because his only chance to get any points really was to get that 5th one up. Having already seen that Bobby Thompson got a 5th rep in, and Mark Felix did it in less than 30 seconds. Once he got 4 reps and he's looking at the clock and seeing it's at 32 plus, he realizes he's in last place from everybody that's got 4 or more. he better try to get that 5th rep up. Does that make sense to you guys? So, I mean, I know Brian fans are just like, no, there has to be, we have to find some way to explain this away. But I don't think looking for excuses or reasons is doing yourselves any favor or Brian any favors. And I'm not counting Brian out. He still has the car walk. He still has the log lift. He still has the wrecking ball hold. All of those could be pretty good for him, especially the car walk. And he's got a great grip. Is it a Mark Felix grip who's in his group? No. We're hearing rumblings that Mr. Mitchell Hooper also has a good grip. I don't know anything about Mitchell Hooper's grip, so I can't count. And then, of course, there's the stone off, which Brian has never needed to rely on before. But if he does have to rely on it, yeah, he's probably going to do pretty darn well there. One of the few men on Earth competing at this level that could actually win the stone off from the 3rd place position. He doesn't want to have to do that. And it's not a guarantee that he wins it from the 3rd place position, but he definitely can, and most guys could not. It's like second or bust. So Brian's hopes are not dead yet, but again, we need to be honest and realistic. And if we're being honest and realistic, he didn't do well. And you can say that it's strategized, but again, if it is strategy, Cameron, it was really poor strategy. If he did that on purpose, which I don't think he did, but if he did, it was terrible strategy for the reasons I've already outlined. So either he finished 5th and couldn't get it done on that event, or he had really poor judgment, which you can decide for yourself which of those is better. So we spent a lot of time on group 2. Let's go over the other groups real quick. So before we do this, let's talk about one thing that was interesting yesterday that all 5 groups had in common. And the amazing thing that all 5 groups had in common is every single leader of the group got maximum points yesterday. Every single leader group had someone go out there and win not 1, but 2 events. In group 1, Tom took both the loading race and the deadlift ladder, so he's got himself 12 points. Kevin Ferris is at 9. In group 2, again, Mitchell Hooper, this young kid, comes in there, wins the loading race and the deadlift ladder. He's also got himself a max 12 points. In group 3, Alexei Novikov. I actually looked at it yesterday when we went off the air and kind of put the things down like if we weren't in groups and put their times down to see who would compete heads up. And Alexei Novikov, if we did that, he would actually be in 1st place overall. And he would have 1 first and a 2nd place finish, I believe it was. Mitchell Hooper would be in 2nd place overall with a 1st place finish and a 3rd place finish if we lined all of the record times up against one another at 30 instead of in these groups. So a fantastic day for Alexei as well. He would literally be in 1st place if this was not in groups and it was a heads-up competition. So, and then Adam Bishop secured himself 2 seconds, which I think he was the only person in any group that managed 2 seconds. So, what's interesting to me about this is yesterday we talked, and Jace ran his mouth over and over and over about how I felt that Group 3 was the real group of death in spite of what the Group 2 talk was. And the reason I said that was because I thought the competition between 4 of these guys was just going to be so tight. Novikov, Bishop, Mitchell, and Kearney. I just thought the competition between them was going to be so tight that it was going to make it hard. Interestingly enough, if I'm right, and I believe I am, that Adam Bishop is the only one that got 2 seconds place finishes, so 12 and 10 here. It actually doesn't seem like the group of death so far. Now, don't get us wrong, we're a third of the way through the qualifier here, but up through day 1, you've got 2 guys who are walking through the rest of the competition. You've got a clear number 1 and a clear number 2. So that's to me that's very interesting. Group 4. Martins still has no photograph. So if we want to see how pretty Martins is, then we have to go over to the Strongman archives because the world's strongest man does not want us to look at Martins' beautiful face for some reason. But look at me and Martins together. I mean, don't you think that me and Martins make a great team? Like, look at us. We are 2 good-looking dudes, right? Right? I mean, he's not quite as handsome as me, but it's not bad. He's not bad. Um, so anyway, uh, so I don't know why he doesn't have his photo up there at World's Strongest Man. And the weird thing is, he did have a photo when the event started. So maybe he was like doing that high school thing where you get your yearbook photo taken, and you're like, tell the yearbook guy, no, I don't like that. Take another one. Nah, take another one. You're never happy, no matter what it looks like. Maybe that's what Martins did. He saw the photo they had in World's Strongest Man. Ugh, no, we don't want to use that. But anyway, Martins off to a great start with his max photos. Um, and uh, max points, boom, 12 points, 6 points in the loading race, 6 points in the deadlift ladder. All of the all of the qualifier days kick off at 8 Pacific time, so here in a few minutes. Gav Bilton with a pretty good showing, locking himself into a tie with Max for second at 8 points. I think most people expected Max to be there. Probably most people did not expect Gav to be there. So props up and good job to Gav for a good start. We'll see what happens today. And then we move into our final round. In the final round, we had Luke Stoltman with max points, 6 points at each event. And then Jean-Steven gets himself 8 points for a second place finish after the qualifiers of day one. Now, here's something I want to talk about. Yesterday, Evan Singleton was reported as having to withdraw from the competition and out. Heat stroke took him out of the competition, and he didn't compete in the deadlift ladder. But what we're hearing, and we'll see, what we're hearing is that he was actually got medical clearance, and he's coming back. So he only got 2 points in the loading race, and he had to take a 0 in the deadlift ladder. That's obviously not going to help his chances. But if he does compete today, and rumor is he's competing today, can Evan, who I don't like, and you guys know I don't like Evan Singleton, can Evan Singleton crawl out from the gutter, 2 point position, sixth place by a good margin? Can he still come out from that and wind up qualifying? That will be interesting to watch, to say the least. Um, I don't know what will happen there. I have no idea. Um, so so anyway, the point is he's supposed to compete. He is supposed to compete. And there were conflicting rumors going around yesterday. Most people were saying it was heat stroke. Uh, Terry Hollins had said he straight up got injured. And then, of course, Evan had some other stuff to say last night. But we'll see. All that matters to me, and I said the same thing yesterday, even though I'm not a big Evan Singleton fan, my thoughts and prayers are with him. I want him to do well. I never wish a withdrawal or injury or sickness on anyone. And so I'm surprised that the medical team cleared him. Usually when someone drops out like that, they're going to play it safe, right? And they're gonna err on the side of, no, you can't do this. You see my dog back there? Doesn't he look peaceful? Or he's like, Dad, shut up. Come back here and lay down and cuddle with me rather than talk to those strangers. They don't care about you like I care about you. Um, so so usually, a guy, once he drops like that, it's over. But he's back, and props to him. And I don't have to be an Evan Singleton fan as a character or a personality to respect him coming back. Surprised they're letting him. Not really surprised that he would choose to if he could, because when you reach this level, all of these guys are so obscenely competitive that if they can go, they're gonna go, right? That's just the way it is. And so, props to Evan for doing that. Um, is he so far behind now? Is he in such a hole that he can't climb out of? Or will he do it? Before the World's Strongest Man Day 1 kicked off, I had picked Evan Singleton to be the winner of Group 5, the leader of Group 5, with Luke Stoltman coming second. Luke is in great position now, and you may not be able to catch him if you're Evan. But he's only 6 points behind John Steven. And again, I thought he was going to win this group rather convincingly. So I'm not saying he's got it easy. I'm not saying he's got it made. And it will still be impressive. And it will be fun for us to sit here and watch and speculate over the next couple of days. And even though this is going to shock you guys, even though I don't like Evan Singleton, even though I am the captain of the Evan Singleton hate group. I'm going to be rooting for him today. I'm going to be rooting for Evan Singleton today. Um, I want to see him come back after yesterday and do well. I think it would be a good story, whether I like the guy or not. I think it would be good. It'd be good for him. Um, Now, if he comes back and wins the group after this, I mean, I didn't like hearing Evan Singleton talk before 2022. If he could come back and win Group 5 after yesterday, oh man, I'll be rooting for him, like I said right now. But after the event is over, whoo, I'm probably not gonna enjoy hearing Evan Singleton talk then, because I'm sure he's gonna run his mouth a lot. Um, but in any event, we'll see what happens. It will be fun to watch. So there's your day one recap, and now we're back to square one, and we'll start waiting for the world's strongest man to not ignore us and let us know how the car walk is going. So long-winded opening over. How are you guys today? How are you guys? Uh, oh, now we have over 100 people. So before I showed this earlier, some people were going to be like, Jace, what about you? You have to be exhausted from yesterday. Yeah, they lifted, you know, hundreds of kilos and carried hundreds of kilos around, but you had to sit there and talk about them. So clearly you had it worse. Clearly you had it harder. You were sitting in air conditioning in a light controlled room. You had it bad yesterday, man. And these wimps are out there in the sunlight getting the vitamin D. So obviously it was way harder on you, Jace, than it was on them. Are you ready for day two? Can you be on the top of your game? And I want to let you guys know not to fear. I am ready to go because I have the Eddie Hall Beast Hydration System ready to rock and roll. So this is the Eddie approved Beast Hydration System, and armed with this, I'm ready to be at the top of my game today. These spreadsheets are not going to stand in my way. If World's Strongest Man's website stops being responsive and goes down for another 15 or 20 minutes, it's not gonna shake me. I am here. I mean business, and I am full force today. Okay, so you guys understand that I mean business. All right. So why do I not like Evan? Well, of course you're new to the channel. Everyone's new to the channel because it didn't exist like 24 hours ago. Um, so I I don't like him for the same reason that most people who don't like him don't like him. He he people. So here's what's interesting. Okay, um, here are the things. He thinks he's funny. I don't think he's funny at all. He comes off as obnoxious and arrogant and condescending and a real peckerwood, to be honest. What's interesting about this, though, is people are like, he's putting on an act. If you ask him if he's putting on an act, he assures you he's not, and he's authentic and real. If that's your real self, dude, you're a douchebag. But at the same time, if it is an act, then I think he still comes off as fake when he's doing the act. So he's not a very good actor. It's not very convincing. It's almost like his true personality is fake, if that makes any sense. He just rubs me the wrong way. But I'm not going to slam Evan today. I'm not going to do it. This is the last negative thing I'm saying about Evan today because of yesterday and because I'm rooting for him today. So for one day and one day only, I'm going to be an Evan Singleton fan. On May 26th, 2022, you will never get me to admit it. If you ask me, Jace, did you root for Evan Singleton? I will deny it for the rest of my life. I will tell you guys that you cannot find no proof of it. You're going to take clips of this video and say, I heard you yourself say that you're rooting for Evan. And I'm going to say, no, you doctored it. That's clearly video Photoshop. I will never admit it after today. But for today and today only, I am an Evan Singleton fan. So, uh, he is definitely not funny, and he is definitely not cool. He's cool in the same way that dorm bros who think they're cool by hanging out with a bunch of other people who think they're cool, but nobody else would think they're cool is cool. That's the only way that he's cool. But dang it, stop talking about him. Stop talking about him because you're making me slam him, and I don't want to slam him. Again, I'm a fan today. I'm a fan. I like Evan Singleton. I like Evan Singleton. And I wish him the best today. So, um, so yeah, this is pretty cool. Cool. See you, Angel, later. Uh, so, ugh. Gotta get a little hydration. Hold on. Ah, that's pretty good stuff. Okay. Um, so World's Strongest Man. Let's see. Here's the over under. Let's put the over under at 10 minutes. You tell me if you're taking the over or the under. That the results for the first event in day 2 come in within 10 minutes before the results of day 1 that we got yesterday. So yesterday it took them about an hour and 20 minutes to get us anything. So with an 8 o'clock start off, that means I'm saying that day 2 maybe we'll have something by 9:10. So about an hour from now. Are you gonna take the over or under on that? So Evan was out, but he's back. He's like he's like diaper rash. He just keeps coming back. So um, um, anyway, uh, Evan today he's gonna come out here and do well. He's gonna come out and do well. Evan is going to get if he's actually feeling well. That's another thing. I don't want to put too much pressure on him in terms of expecting him. Just because he's back doesn't mean he's in good shape, right? Um, but I'm going to say that, again, I'm rooting for him. I'm going to be an Evan Singleton fan today. So Evan is going to get 10 points today. 10 points today. Um, so where will sticking 10 points on his 2 total leave him at the end of day 2? So that should be interesting. Chris, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna ask you to stay and see, because my predictions now are, I don't feel very good about them. When the World's Strongest Man started yesterday, I said our podium was going to be Lisi's wins, Tom Stoltman in second, and Brian Shaw taking the bronze medal. It could still wind up that way. That could still happen. Uh, I'm not convinced that that's the most likely result of the 2022 World's Strongest Man today. Um, so I'll be talking about that. I'll give my predictions and my updated predictions um, throughout the day. But I'm glad I'm not a betting man, because I wouldn't feel very good about winning some money on the way I thought the things were going to go. And it may be a Space Cowboy show, but I was ready for that. I don't know if you were ready for it, but I was ready for a Space Cowboy. So uh, nothing surprises me. Being set up for more Evan questions. See, this is bad, Macy. You're setting me up here, because I said that I'm only saying good things about Evan today, and now you're deliberately asking me to try to be negative to Evan. That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm trying to be nice to Evan. Um, so let's read this tricky question that causes me to be a hypocrite and go back on my word. Um, if you hate Stone-offs and Evan, and I don't hate Evan, although I probably said I do, but I strongly dislike Evan. Uh, I I don't hate anyone, um, and I could overshare like I did yesterday and say some things about my past, but I won't. But I don't hate anyone. Not a fan of Evan Singleton. Okay, now that out of the way, I do hate Stone-offs. If Stone-offs were a person, they might be the only person I do hate. I do hate Stone-offs. All right, so if I hate Stone-offs and Evan, would I like a Stone-off where Evan is eliminated? I'm going to be honest with you here. I would enjoy a stone off where Evan gets eliminated, but not because I don't like Evan. Do you know why I would like that? I would like that because Evan is really freaking good at stone offs, and if he got beat in a stone off, I know that the other guy had to really work hard and really put it, especially in that group. In that group, I think he's a stone beast, especially like if Luke stays in the top place. You don't have to worry about him. Um, yeah, there are some other good stone lifters there, but I think Evan is in a class of his own in that group. So, yeah, I'd like to see that, but not because of how I feel about Evan, but because I'd be impressed by some good athletics. So that's how I feel. Well, it turns out he didn't get a heat stroke, or at least we're hearing that he didn't get a heat stroke. So, um, so anyway, that answers that loaded question. Did I miss anything? Seeing if I missed anything. Great answer. 3 out of 10. Sweet. That almost matches my high school GPA. Uh, so, um, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I'm sticking to my word. I said that I'm an Evan fan today. So no one is going to hear me say one more bad word about Evan Singleton on May 25th. But if you've liked and subscribed, come back on May 26th, okay? That's a little foreshadowing. You won't want to miss it. Um, we're going to talk about what everybody wants to talk about or what everyone wants to talk about. We learned yesterday that I don't change the chat to suit one or two requests. If I feel like talking about it, I'm going to talk about it. If other people want to talk about it, I want to talk about it. And while you're all welcome here, and while no one is required to agree with me about any topic, I'm a fervent believer that I can press the stream button and say anything I want. And I'm also a firm believer that if you don't like it, you can hit back or close. It won't hurt my feelings. I'm not saying I want you to go, but I'm saying you have that option. So if you don't enjoy the content here, that's okay. There's a lot of great places you can go. There are many places you can go. So that's how I'm going to say how I feel about that. Um, dark horses from each group. Good question, Sean. Okay, dark horse from group one. Uh, Based on where we're at now, man, it's kind of hard because the group itself is already a little bit strange, at least in terms of what people were expecting. I expected it to be Stoltman first and Ferris second. So, um, so it's kind of what I expected, but that's not what people expected. But most people expected it to be Stoltman and Ivars. Um, so I don't know. I mean, if you got a dark horse in Group One, you liked Andy Black. He's really the only safe one that you can call a dark horse at this place because I don't think you can say that Manuela's Angulu is a dark horse from the standpoint that the dark horse has to have a legitimate chance, a legitimate shot, right? Um, he doesn't have much of a shot, so I have to eliminate him. It's hard to call Gabe and Ivar's dark horses because they're only 2 freaking points behind Kevin, right? So the only one that you can really, honestly, in good faith, put in that position is Andy because he still has a shot and there's enough distance between him and the first and second positions that he's got some work to do. But Gabe and Ivers are right there, so it's kind of hard if that makes any sense. So um, let's go on down to Group 2, shall we? If there's a dark horse in this group, before yesterday started, it was Mitchell Hooper, right? Right? Mitchell Hooper was the dark horse before World's Strongest Man kicked off. He's no longer the dark horse, right? You can't be the dark horse when you're sitting in max points. So the dark horse of this group right now assuming he's not hurt or injured, it's kind of weird. The dark horse now is the man who, well, man, this is Group 2 is interesting. So I'm like, the dark horse is Konstantin Janashik because everybody expected him to move on out of this group, and he's in last place. But, Brian, he's not in a safe position right now. Can you ever call Brian a dark horse? Can you ever call Brian a dark horse? Right now, he's in the third position. He's going to need a stone off from the behind position to win. No easy feat, right? So all I'm getting at here is this group is very interesting. Um, it almost feels disrespectful to call the four-time world's strongest man of the world a dark horse, and he's only 1 point behind Gabe too. So I guess I'll say Konstantin Janash is the dark horse of this group, but he has to perform. He must. It's not optional. Konstantin to have any shot whatsoever, even the glimmer of a hope, he has to have an amazing day two. Yeah, Brian needs to have a good day two too, right? A lot of these guys need to have a good day too. But Konstantin, he's down there in last place. He only managed 3 reps yesterday, and he's a deadlifting machine usually. I question his health. I question where he's at. But, Konstantin has to have a big, big day. Group 3, dark horse here. I'm a bigger Rob Kearney fan than I thought I would have been. When I first started seeing Rob, I was not really sold on him. The guy has impressed me a lot of times. He actually did much worse yesterday than I thought he was going to do. Now on the car walk, we're going to start out very interesting on the car walk, and I think the car walk will tell us a lot about whether or not Rob has any chances whatsoever of making the final. If you could have said to me, Jace, which 2 guys would you like to see in the car walk head to head? I would say Alexei Novikov and Rob Kearney. I would love to see those guys. If you want to throw Evan Singleton in there too, that'd be fine too. But if you ask me for 2, I would say Novikov and Kearney. I would love to see that. And we get to see it today. Well, I guess we don't get to see it, right? Because World's Strongest Man won't let us see it. But we get to talk about it. We get to see the results of how it went down. And so Novikov was on fire yesterday. If Kearney can beat Novikov in the car walk, then I think we've got something to talk about. And then I think, Rob is your dark horse, and Rob has a shot. But if he finishes behind Novikov, which is very, very likely because Novikov is really good, um, it gets harder and harder and harder to like Rob's chances. But again, he doesn't have to beat Novikov either. He's got to climb up the scales to qualify. But I don't think Rob really wants to be in a stone off either. So I don't. None of the guys want to be in a stone off. Let's face it. None of the guys want to be in a stone off. Why? Because stone offs suck. But I guess I'll say Rob Kearney is still the dark horse there. Group 4,